I sit alone in Dr. Rivera's office, my fingers turning white as I grip the edge of the padded chair. The room feels too cold, too sterile. His diplomas stare down at me from the wall like judgmental eyes. The tests confirm what we suspected, Emily. Doctor. Rivera leans forward, his voice gentle but unflinching. You need surgery, and soon. The longer we wait, the more complicated recovery becomes. I nod, trying to look brave while my insides twist into knots. At 25, I never expected to face something like this. What about costs? My voice sounds small, foreign to my own ears. He slides a paper across his desk. With your insurance, your out-of-pocket will be approximately $5,000. $5,000. The number hangs in the air between us, a death sentence for someone with my bank account. I do the math, automatically my meager savings, the rent due next week, the student loans that devour my paycheck. The room tilts slightly. How soon? I manage to ask. Within the month, ideally. His pen taps against his notepad. Do you have someone who can help you through recovery? I nod automatically, the lie forming before I can stop it. Family. I have family. That night, my parents' suburban colonial looks exactly as it always has: perfect lawn, gleaming windows, American flag fluttering by the door. I park my 10-year-old Honda beside my father's immaculate Lexus and check my reflection. Still in my office clothes, slightly wrinkled after a full day of work. I smooth my hair, apply lip balm, and rehearse my speech one more time. The front door opens before I knock. My mother, Margaret, peers out with a distracted smile. Emily, what a surprise. We weren't expecting you tonight. The house smells like fresh coffee and furniture polish. I follow her through the hallway into the dining room, where blueprints cover the polished mahogany table. My father hunches over them, reading glasses perched on his nose. My brother Liam paces the perimeter, gesturing enthusiastically. The waterfall countertop is worth every penny, Liam says, not noticing me yet. And we can add the butler pantry if we extend this wall just 18 inches. Emily's here, my mother announces, and 3 heads turn toward me. My father gives a curt nod. Emily, grab a coffee if you want. We're just finalizing some details for Liam's renovations. Hey sis, Liam grins, waving me over. Perfect timing. Which backsplash do you like better, the Calicut gold marble or the handcrafted subway tile? I move closer, not really seeing the samples he points to. My heart hammers against my ribs. Actually, I needed to talk to you all about something. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. Something important. Can it wait 15 minutes? My father checks his watch. We need to finalize these selections for Liam's contractor meeting tomorrow. It's about my health, I blurt out. The room falls silent. I've been having tests. The results came back today. My mother's face shifts into a mask of concern. She pulls out a chair. Sit down, honey. What tests? I sink into the chair, explain the diagnosis, the recommended surgery, the urgency. Their faces grow serious as I speak. I hate this being the bearer of bad news, the one with problems, the one asking for help. But I have nowhere else to turn. The thing is, I finish, my mouth dry. After insurance, I still need $5,000. I've been saving, but with rent and student loans. My voice trails off. The silence stretches. My father removes his glasses, pinches the bridge of his nose. You should have planned better, Emily. His tone is the same one he used when I brought home a B+ in calculus. Medical emergencies happen. That's why emergency funds exist. Thomas, my mother murmurs, but her eyes hold no real disagreement. I've tried, I say, heat rising to my cheeks, but on my salary. We can't enable this kind of irresponsibility, my mother cuts in, her voice soft but firm. You're an adult now. Part of being an adult is anticipating these situations. The pain in my side throbs as if responding to their words. I stare at the blueprint between us, the elaborate kitchen that will never cook a meal for me. Speaking of which, Liam chimes in, oblivious to the tension. Dad, Did you tell the contractor we were increasing the renovation budget to $400,000? I want to upgrade the primary bathroom fixtures to the restoration hardware collection. $400,000. The number crashes through me like a wrecking ball. $400,000 for Liam's kitchen, while $5,000 for my surgery is irresponsible. $400,000? I repeat, my voice barely audible. My parents exchange a look, that look I've seen my entire life. The one that says I'm being difficult. The one that says I don't understand. The one that says I've always been second best. It's an investment in Liam's future, my father explains. Property values in his neighborhood are skyrocketing. Tears burn behind my eyes. This is surgery I need, I whisper, not a vacation. My father checks his watch again. We should wrap this up. Liam's contractor is expecting these decisions by morning. He stands, gathering papers. My mother pats my hand. Have you thought about a second job? Or maybe better budgeting? There are some wonderful apps for that now. Liam studies his shoes, saying nothing. I rise slowly, the chair scraping against hardwood. The walk to the door feels endless. Through the dining room, down the hallway, past family photos where Liam's smiling face dominates every frame. Behind me, I hear them already returning to cabinet depths and fixture finishes. In my car, the evening sun catches my reflection in the window. Something shifts in my eyes. Something breaks and reforms simultaneously. Tears stream down my face, but my breathing steadies. They won't be the reason I suffer, I whisper to my reflection. And they won't be the reason I survive. I turn the key in the ignition, back out of the driveway, and drive away from the perfect colonial house with its perfect lawn and its perfectly conditional love. The alarm blares at 4:30 a.m. 2 days later. My hand slaps the nightstand, fingers fumbling until the noise stops. Through the window, stars still hang in the black sky, no hint of dawn. 3 hours until my office job. Just enough time for my first gig of the day. I shuffle to the bathroom, catching my reflection in the mirror. Hollow eyes stare back, skin the color of old paper. The calendar on my wall marks 22 days until surgery. 22 days to earn what my family wouldn't give. My apartment walls tell the story better than I could. Medical bills fan across the kitchen table in neat stacks, color-coded tabs marking payment plans. A whiteboard tracks my 3 jobs: weekday administrator, evening waitress, weekend pet sitter. The crowdfunding page I started sits open on my laptop. $1,243, raised from coworkers and distant friends. Not even halfway there. My phone buzzes with a text from my mother. Liam's contractor finished the custom cabinetry yesterday. Absolutely stunning. Hope you're doing well. Love, Mom. No mention of my health. No questions about the surgery. Just Liam's kitchen cabinets. I don't respond. Emergency contact? The nurse looks up from her clipboard, pen hovering over the form. 20 days later, on the day of the surgery. The pre-op room smells of antiseptic and fear. I've been sitting on this paper-covered bed for 40 minutes, hospital gown tied loosely at my neck, bare legs dangling. Emily? She prompts again. My finger traces down the form to where I should write a name. The natural answer sticks in my throat. My hand hesitates, then writes Sarah Miller with her cell number. Not family? The nurse asks, no judgment in her voice. She's the one who'll be here, I answer. After the nurse leaves, I check my phone one last time before surgery. 3 messages from Sarah wishing me luck. A few texts from coworkers. Nothing from my parents or Liam. The anesthesiologist explains the procedure as he adjusts my IV. His voice fades as the drugs pull me under. When I wake later that day, the recovery room spins in slow circles. My mouth tastes like metal. The pain in my side throbs beneath a blanket of medication. Hey, you're back, Sarah whispers, squeezing my hand. Her curly hair frames worried eyes. Everything went perfect. Doctor said you did great. I try to speak but manage only a croak. Sarah offers water through a straw. You stayed, I mumble. Of course I stayed. Where else would I be? My phone sits dark and silent on the bedside table. 3 days later, Sarah transforms my studio apartment into a recovery station. A rented hospital bed occupies the center of the room. My coffee table becomes a medication station with pill organizers, water bottles, and pain charts. She hangs get well cards from coworkers on a string across my window, colorful rectangles that catch the light. None from my family. I can stay through the weekend, Sarah says, arranging pillows behind my back. My boss gave me Friday off. You've already done too much. The surgical site pulses with each heartbeat. I can manage. Sarah frowns, hands on hips. This isn't about managing, Em. This is about healing. That night, when Sarah falls asleep on my fold-out couch, I cry silently into my pillow. Not from the pain in my side, but from the ache of empty space where my family should be. Physical therapy becomes the rhythm of my weeks. Gentle stretches evolve into cautious movements. Pain marks each milestone sharp at first, then dull, persistent. Good progress, my therapist says during week 3. Keep this up and you'll be back to normal activities soon. Normal, as if anything could be normal again. Nights become my classroom. Library books tower beside my bed, real estate investing for beginners, rental property management, building wealth through property. I highlight passages until my fingers cramp, take notes until my eyes burn. When pain wakes me at midnight, I read about depreciation schedules and mortgage interest rates until dawn bleeds through my blinds. With each passing month, the medical bills shrink while my knowledge grows. I create spreadsheets projecting future investments, calculating compound returns. When the calendar marks 6 months post-surgery, I open a new savings account. The name, Property Fund. First deposit, $212.83. Not much, but mine. My 26th birthday arrives with little ceremony. Sarah brings a small chocolate cupcake with a single candle after work. We sit at my kitchen table, sharing it between us. Make a wish, she says. I close my eyes, blow out the flame. My phone chimes with a text message. I almost ignore it, but Sarah nudges me. Could be important. The screen lights up with my mother's name. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Come see Liam's finished house this weekend. The renovation is absolutely breathtaking. Everyone will be there. Love, Mom. Sarah reads it over my shoulder, her intake of breath sharp. Are you going? She asks. I set down my phone, cut another bite of cupcake with my fork. No, there's a real estate seminar Saturday morning. I already paid the registration fee. The seminar room buzzes with eager investors clutching coffee cups and brochures on Saturday. I take a seat near the front, notebook open, pen ready. The speaker, Barbara Matthews, commands attention without demanding it, silver-haired, confident, dressed in a tailored blue suit. Real estate isn't about buildings, she tells the room. It's about solving problems. After the session, I hover near the podium while others ask questions. When the crowd thins, Barbara notices me waiting. You took more notes than anyone else here, she observes, nodding toward my filled pages. I need to make sure I don't miss anything important. Her eyes, shrewd behind stylish glasses, assess me. First property? Not yet. Still saving. She hands me her business card. Call me when you're ready. I mentor serious investors. On my way home, I drive past a rundown duplex with a fresh for sale sign. I circle the block twice before pulling over. The paint peels in long strips. The concrete steps have cracked. The roof needs work. But the bones are there. The potential. I see it clearly, like a vision of another life. I take a photo with my phone and save it with a new label. Possibility number 1. I stand at the window of my new office, watching people hurry past on the street below. 5 years have transformed everything. The reflection that stares back at me from the glass is barely recognizable from the broken woman who once sat crying in a hospital gown. My phone buzzes. A text from my assistant, Delia. New property just listed. Sending details now. At 31, I've replaced my old wardrobe of discount store basics with tailored suits in charcoal and forest green. The walls around me have evolved from my kitchen table to this second-floor commercial space overlooking Main Street. The sign on the door reads, Parker Property Solutions in confident silver lettering. Miss Parker? Delia knocks and enters with a stack of files. Your 11 o'clock canceled, but Mrs. Winters confirmed for lunch. Barbara Winters. My mentor. My salvation. The woman who saw potential in a wounded 27-year-old clutching a notebook full of desperate calculations at a real estate seminar. Tell Marco we need the quarterly reports before tomorrow's investor meeting, I say, straightening the already straight edge of my desk calendar. Old habits die hard, and check with Williams Construction about the timeline on the fourplex renovation. Delia nods and leaves. 5 years ago, I was answering to managers. Now, 6 contractors and 2 employees answer to me. 15 minutes later, at the cafe, Barbara waves away the dessert menu and leans back in her chair. Sunlight streams through the restaurant windows, catching the silver in her bob. At 68, she carries herself with the confidence of a woman who built her fortune one calculated decision at a time. The Riverside apartment acquisition was smart, she says, stirring her coffee. 15 units with that location for under market value? You have good instincts, Emily. I smile, warmth spreading through my chest. Praise still feels foreign, a language I'm slowly learning to understand. I've been studying the western side of town, I tell her. 3 properties with strong rental histories, all owner, financed with favorable terms. Barbara studies me over her coffee cup. When was the last time you spoke to your family? The question lands like a stone in still water. I focus on refolding my napkin. 5 years, 2 months. I meet her eyes. Not since the surgery. She nods, unsurprised. I cut ties with my brother for a decade over my parents' estate. Sometimes distance is necessary. Did you ever reconcile? I ask. Eventually, on my terms. She sets down her cup. Success isn't revenge, but it sure feels good when they notice. We clink glasses in a toast to my latest acquisition, a 12-unit building that doubled my property count overnight. The next morning, light filters through my kitchen window as I scan foreclosure listings, sorting properties by potential ROI. Delia has flagged several with yellow sticky notes. I sip my coffee, flipping through the pages until my hand freezes mid-turn. The address jumps off the page, 47 Oakwood Lane. 3 doors down from my parents' home. My coffee cup clatters against the saucer. I reach for a pen, my hand unusually unsteady, and draw a perfect circle around the listing. The streets of Oakwood Estates look smaller than I remember the next day I visit. I drive slowly past manicured lawns and colonial facades, noting subtle changes. Mrs. Henderson's prize roses replaced with low-maintenance shrubs. The Taylor's basketball hoop missing from their driveway. Then I see at Liam's dream house. The $400,000 renovation showcase. Even from the street, I can spot the signs of neglect. Paint peeling along the trim. Overgrown hedges creeping toward unwashed windows. A for sale sign, weather-beaten and leaning, stands in the yard. I park at the end of the cul-de-sac and walk toward the community mailboxes, timing my arrival as Mrs. Collins collects her daily stack. Emily Parker? Her eyes widen. Goodness, it's been years. Are you visiting your parents? Just passing through, I say, offering a practiced smile. The neighborhood looks different. Oh, difficult times, she lowers her voice. Your brother's house is in foreclosure, you know. Lost his job at the investment firm last year. Your parents have been struggling tutoring to help him, I imagine. Really? I keep my tone neutral. I hadn't heard. Such a shame about that beautiful kitchen remodel. She shakes her head. Bankruptcy filing and everything. The whole family's underwater from what I hear. I nod, my mind calculating rapidly. It was good seeing you, Mrs. Collins. Walking back to my car, I pull out my phone and call Delia. The Oakwood listing, I say. I want to expand our search. Look for all distressed properties in that zip code, particularly on Oakwood Lane and surrounding streets. A pause. There are 3 more that match those criteria. Put together acquisition packages for all 4, I say, my decision crystallizing, and schedule a meeting with our investor group for tomorrow. The Oakwood portfolio represents an exceptional opportunity, I explain, standing before the conference room of investors the next day. The slideshow behind me displays neighborhood comps, projected rental income, and rehabilitation costs. What I don't share is how I once played hide and seek in these backyards. How I know which houses get morning sun and which streets flood during heavy rains. How the largest property once belonged to my brother. We're projecting a 12% annual return after expenses. I continue, clicking to the next slide. The area has historically maintained high occupancy rates with quality tenants. The investors nod, impressed by the numbers. By afternoon, we've closed the deal for properties purchased at 30 cents on the dollar. Back in my office, I unlock the bottom drawer of my desk and remove an old photo. My family standing before our house, arms around each other, smiles fixed for the camera. I was 17 then, still believing that love was unconditional, that family meant safety. I return the photo to the drawer and lock it away. These just came in, Delia says, placing a stack of rental applications on my desk. The Oakwood properties are generating significant interest. I flip through them idly until a familiar name stops my breath. Parker, Thomas, and Margaret. My parents' application for their son's former house. I scan the financial disclosure: pension income barely covering basic expenses, crushing medical debt, credit scores in ruins. The story of a family collapse written in cold numbers. Miss Parker? Delia watches me, concern crossing her features. Is everything all right? I close the file, my face composed once more. Schedule the showing for Friday, I say, my voice steady. I'll handle this one personally. After she leaves, I stand at my office window, keys to my brother's former dream house heavy in my palm. In the reflection, I see both the wounded girl I was and the woman I've become. Neither vengeful nor forgiving. Simply present, holding power I never sought but now possess. The choice before me isn't about revenge, it's about value, a lesson my family taught me at the cost of $5,000 in years of pain. And some lessons are worth more than houses. A week later, I straighten the leasing documents on the granite countertop, aligning them perfectly with the edge. Jessica finishes arranging fresh flowers in the modest vase, not too fancy, just professional enough to suggest comfortable living without ostentation. Everything's ready, Emily, she says, giving the kitchen a final assessment. Standard lease terms, application forms, and property disclosures. Thanks. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. I'll handle it from here. After she leaves, I stand alone in the kitchen of what was once Liam's dream house. The waterfall countertop he'd insisted was worth every penny remains, though the butler pantry extension never materialized. I run my fingers across the cool surface, remembering blueprints spread across our family dining table years ago. In my car, I breathe deeply, counting to 10 the way Barbara taught me. The navy blazer I've chosen is understated yet authoritative, professional without flaunting success. My reflection in the rearview mirror shows a woman I barely recognize from that tearful night in my parents' driveway. At precisely 3 o'clock, a familiar Lexus pulls into the driveway. The car has aged poorly, small dings along the side, a crack spreading across the windshield. My father emerges first, his shoulders stooped in a way I don't remember. My mother follows, her hair completely gray now, her designer purse replaced by something practical and worn. They pause at the Parker Property Solutions sign, but their eyes skip over the name without recognition. They're too distracted by what they've lost to notice who might now own it. 10 minutes later, Liam's sedan pulls up. The contrast between the brother I remember and this man is startling. His confident stride has vanished, replaced by a hesitant shuffle. He joins my parents at the front door, mumbling apologies for his lateness. "Can't believe we're reduced to renting," my mother whispers as they enter, her voice carrying in the empty foyer. "And in the same neighborhood. What will people think?" "We don't have options, Margaret." My father's voice has lost its authoritative edge. "Just be grateful someone's willing to rent to us with our credit situation." "At least it's near our old place," Liam adds, glancing around what used to be his showcase kitchen. Though seeing it without all my upgrades is depressing. They don't notice me standing in the kitchen archway, watching. These strangers wearing my family's faces continue their whispered complaints, unaware of my presence until I step forward. "Good afternoon. I'm Emily Parker with Parker Property Solutions." My voice surprises even me with its steady professionalism. "Thank you for your interest in the property." 3 pairs of eyes widen in unison. The silence stretches between us like taffy, pulling thinner and thinner until it finally snaps. Emily? My father recovers first, voice wobbling as he stretches his lips into what might be a smile. What a coincidence! My mother's hands flutter to her throat. Darling, we've missed you terribly. Why didn't you tell us you were in real estate? Liam says nothing, his gaze fixed on the floor tiles he once selected from an Italian catalog. Perhaps we should catch up first, my father suggests, gesturing toward the living room. Family matters before business, right? Actually, I think it's best we focus on the rental application. I indicate the documents on the counter. As you mentioned, your credit situation complicates matters, so we should address the qualification requirements first. Their faces shift as understanding dawns. They're not here as my family, they're here as potential tenants. The power dynamic has flipped so completely I can almost hear it click into place like a lock. The rental terms are standard market rate, I continue, turning to the appropriate page. First month, last month, and security deposit required upon signing. References will be verified, and income must be 3 times the monthly rent. Emily, my mother whispers, tears welling. Surely there's a family discount? My father clears his throat. Blood means flexible terms, doesn't it? After all, we're not strangers. I meet his gaze directly. This is business, not family. You taught me that. The words hang between us, and I see recognition flash in my father's eyes. She remembers saying something similar the night I asked for help with my surgery. I slide the application form across the counter, placing a pen precisely on the signature line. All tenants over 18 must complete the background check. The application fee is non-refundable. They exchange glances, a silent family conversation from which I've been excluded for years. What happened to you? My mother asks softly. Life. I maintain my professional tone as I walk them through the remaining lease terms. No anger, no bitterness, just clear boundaries. Liam finally speaks, his voice barely audible. I'm sorry about your surgery. I nod once, acknowledging without absolving. The house is available immediately. Your application will be processed like any other. After they leave, I watch from the window as they huddle beside their cars, gesturing in what appears to be a heated discussion. The signed application remains on the counter where they left it. I whisper to the empty house. $5,000. One valuable lesson. In business, as in family, you learn who people are when they think they have the power, and when they discover they don't. I arrange the office with careful precision. Every object on my desk has purposely documents centered, company policy manual to the right, tenant information packet to the left. The thermostat reads 72 degrees, though I feel strangely cold. My watch says 9:58 a.m. They'll arrive at 10. Adjusting my charcoal blazer, I breathe deeply and focus on the wall of framed property acquisition photos opposite my desk. 5 years of disciplined work. 5 years since they left me alone with a $5,000 medical bill and endless nights of pain. The lobby phone buzzes. Miss Parker, your 10 o'clock is here. Send them in, Alicia. My family enters as if stepping onto unfamiliar terrain. Mom wears a peach cardigan set I've never seen, her pearls polished to a high gleam. Dad has put on a tie, his silver hair freshly trimmed. Liam trails behind in a button-down that still bears creases from its packaging. Emily. Dad extends his hand as if we're business associates meeting for the first time. I shake it firmly. Please, have a seat. They settle into the visitor chairs I've arranged across from my desk. Mom's gaze sweeps the room, lingering on my business awards and the property management certifications mounted on the wall. Lovely office, she says, very professional. Thank you. I slide the lease documents forward. I've prepared the standard rental agreement for the property. Let me walk you through it. Liam clears his throat. Before we start with all that, maybe we could just talk? It's been a long time, Em. The old nickname stings more than it should. I pull out my reading glasses, ignoring the fluttering in my stomach. The lease term is 12 months, I continue. Rent is due on the 1st of each month. Late fees apply after the 5th. The security deposit covers damages beyond normal wear and tear. Mom's hand trembles slightly as she reaches into her purse. She pulls out a small frame containing a family photo from my high school graduation. With practiced delicacy, she places it on my desk. We've missed so much time as a family, she says, voice quavering. When we saw you at the showing, I just knew God was giving us another chance. I pick up the frame and examine it briefly before placing it back in her purse. The tenant handbook outlines maintenance procedures and property rules. Dad leans forward. Emily, this situation we're in, it's temporary. The market turned against us, but I have prospects lined up. Within 6 months, we'll be back on our feet. The lease term is 12 months, I repeat. Early termination requires 60 days notice and payment of a fee equal to 1 month's rent. Liam shifts in his seat. Look, we know you've done well for yourself. Maybe you could help us get back on our feet? Family discounts or something? The word family ignites something fierce inside my chest. I open my desk drawer and remove a folder I've kept for 7 years. From it, I extract a stack of medical bills, each one marked paid in bold red letters. 5 years ago, I had surgery, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. Recovery took 14 weeks. I worked 3 jobs to pay for it. I spread the bills across the desk. I needed $5,000 then. You're asking for much more now. Mom's face flushes. Dad studies his hands. Only Liam meets my eyes. I'm sorry, he says quietly. I should have helped you then. I nod once, acknowledging his words without accepting them as absolution. If you want to rent this property, our relationship will be tenant and landlord. Nothing more, nothing less. I tap the lease agreement. If you want more than that, I have terms for that too. Terms? Dad's eyebrows rise. For being family? Family counseling, with all of us present, for at least 6 sessions before we discuss personal reconciliation. Mom's mouth opens in protest. That's ridiculous. We don't need a stranger telling us how to be a family. Then we'll keep this professional. I slide a pen toward them. Your choice. Dad and Mom exchange glances, a silent conversation passing between them. Liam surprises me by reaching for the pen. I'll do the counseling, he says, whether they join or not. His unexpected alliance shifts something in the room. Mom's shoulders sag in defeat while Dad maintains his rigid posture, jaw tight with stubborn pride. Fine, Dad finally mutters, if that's what it takes. They sign the lease, initials on every page. I countersign with the same pen I used to sign my medical payment plans years ago. The door opens behind me, and Jessica enters with perfect timing. This is Jessica Miller, my property manager, I explain, standing. She'll be your primary contact for any maintenance issues or questions about the property. You won't be handling things yourself? Mom asks, disappointment evident. No. Jessica manages all tenant relationships. She'll treat you fairly, like all my tenants. Nothing more, nothing less. Jessica smiles professionally and hands them each her business card. I look forward to working with you. The welcome packet includes my contact information and emergency procedures. I gather the signed documents. Jessica will show you out. They rise slowly, as if hoping for some last-minute softening. Dad nods stiffly. Mom blinks rapidly, fighting tears. Liam lingers after they step into the hallway. For what it's worth, he says quietly, I'm proud of what you've built. The compliment holds no power over me now. Thank you. Jessica will be in touch about the counseling arrangements. When the door closes behind them, I sink into my chair, trembling slightly from the adrenaline crash. My phone rings almost immediately. How did it go? Barbara asks, her voice warm with concern. I stare at the family photo Mom tried to place on my desk, now visible through her clear purse as they walk toward the elevator. It wasn't about revenge, I tell her, surprised to discover the truth in my words. It was about value. After we hang up, I open my calendar and create a new appointment, a donation to the medical assistance fund I've been planning for months. The amount? $5,000. The exact sum I needed 5 years ago. The drive home feels lighter somehow. My house comes into view, modest compared to what Liam had, but mine in every sense. On the porch, I water the row of potted herbs I planted last weekend. The Wilson kids ride bikes in the cul-de-sac, their laughter carrying on the evening breeze. Miss Emily. 8-year-old Tara waves wildly from her purple bicycle. I wave back, a genuine smile finding its way to my face. For the first time in 7 years, I realize the weight I've been carrying has finally begun to lift. 6 months later, I study the quarterly reports spread across my office desk, the numbers telling a story of steady growth. Outside my window, autumn leaves flutter down, marking 7 years since my surgery. The property portfolio spreadsheet shows a 32% increase over last year. Not flashy, but solid. Dependable. My desk phone buzzes. Jessica's voice comes through the speaker. The Parkers have paid their rent early again, 6 months straight now. Good, I say, making a note in the tenant ledger. Any maintenance issues? None. Your model tenants. I nod, though Jessica can't see me. My parents and Liam have been renting their house, his former dream house, for half a year now. No complaints, no special requests, no attempts to blur the professional boundaries I established. Oh, and this came for you. Jessica appears in my doorway holding a cream-colored envelope. I recognize Liam's handwriting immediately. The note inside is brief, on plain stationery. Emily, I'd like to meet for coffee, just the two of us. No agenda, no requests. Just talk. Your call on when and where. Liam. I turn the note over. Nothing else. No emotional manipulation, no hints about their financial situation improving. Just a simple request. I place it on my desk and return to my reports. But the note pulls at my attention like a loose thread on a sweater. After an hour, I text him. Saturday, 10 a.m., Riverstone Coffee on Main. I have an appointment at 11:30. On Saturday, the coffee shop sits halfway between my office and my parents' rental-neutral territory. I arrive 15 minutes early, choose a table with clear sightlines to both exits, and order a cappuccino. Liam arrives 5 minutes early, which surprises me. Punctuality was never his strong suit. He's thinner, the designer clothes replaced with a simple button-down shirt. The swagger is gone. Thanks for meeting me, he says, sliding into the seat across from me. You're welcome. I wrap my hands around my mug, waiting. He orders black coffee, then places a small package on the table. This isn't a peace offering or a bribe, just something I found while going through boxes. I unwrap it carefully. A framed photograph of us as children, maybe 8 and 12, building a snowman in our old backyard. My smile wide and uninhibited, his arm around my shoulders. I remember that day, I say, my voice steady. Dad took the picture before leaving for his golf game. Liam nods. He missed the part where you gave the snowman your scarf because he looked cold. A silence stretches between us, not entirely uncomfortable. We've been seeing a family counselor, he says finally, all three of us. That's good. It's hard, facing things about ourselves. He stirs his coffee. About me. I watch a young mother at another table cut a muffin into tiny pieces for her toddler. Things often are. The thing is, Emily. He stops, starts again. I never saw it, how differently they treated us. It was my normal. Mine too, I say. His eyes meet mine, clear and sad. That doesn't make it right. We talk for 40 minutes. He doesn't ask for money. Doesn't mention moving out of the rental. Doesn't try to make me feel responsible for their situation. He mostly listens, something I can't remember him doing before. The following Tuesday, I finalized the paperwork for my foundation, the Parker Medical Housing Foundation. Barbara helped me structure it to provide emergency medical grants of exactly $5,000 each. The symmetry feels right. 20 grants in the first year, Barbara says, reviewing the budget. That's 20 families who won't face what you did. I signed the final document. They spent $400,000 on his dream house. I'm building something that matters. Later that afternoon, I stand in the empty community center I've just purchased. Sunlight streams through dusty windows, illuminating the potential. Barbara walks the perimeter, measuring spaces with her eyes. Patient housing here, I say, pointing to the east wing. The west section can be outpatient recovery suites. Your vision has always been your strength, Barbara says, even when you couldn't see it yourself. I run my hand along a windowsill, imagining the lives that will pass through here. People in crisis, finding not just shelter, but dignity. The opposite of what I found when I needed it most. The sun warms my face through the glass. The weight I've carried for 7 years feels different now, not gone, but transformed into something useful, something worthy.